Continue on talking about the CERN collider and its real agenda. Okay, so we're on the verge of a paradigm shift. They've cracked open a portal or doorway or whatever you want to call it from another dimension. By their own admission, they are already in communication with something that has a personality and has ability to communicate. And the information that they're receiving must be very high-level information, because they're feeding it to laboratories and technologies all across the planet. And what you said, which is so sobering, that video on the internet that captured it was an open satanic worship ceremony, I guess in the Goddard Tunnel.
Yes.
And I saw it and I was like, my mouth hung open because it was so in your face, Luciferian and satanic.
I would say we've probably not seen something that bold in the mainstream media.
No, we haven't.
In our lifetime.
No. And you know, there's been an escalation, and it keeps getting faster and more bold and more prominent. The Illuminati symbols at the Super Bowls and these giant musical performances in stadiums by music superstars and the Olympics. There are in-your-face occult messages and satanic messages and symbols, which tells you there's a very powerful Luciferian elite in this world, very active, and they're not hiding anymore.
No, they're not.
They've come out.
Because they've progressed in their timeline to the point where they feel invulnerable and no longer have to hold back. In fact, they want to be more bold about it so that they can gather themselves more converts to their way.
That would make sense.
Pull away from us.
Yeah, that would make sense, because here in the U.S. we have this rise in the satanic churches.
Shalom, I hope you all are well. I'm blessed and I'm back again with a quick video. You know, in these last days, what once sounded like science fiction is starting to look prophetic. The book of Revelation speaks of a time when the bottomless pit will be opened, when unseen forces are released upon the earth under the command of Abaddon the Destroyer. And right now at CERN, beneath the earth, scientists are colliding particles, studying antimatter, and even naming projects like 3i Atlas, a title that sounds like it was pulled straight from prophecy itself. And the statue of Shiva, the god of destruction, stands at CERN's entrance, dancing within a ring of fire, a symbol of creation and annihilation. But spiritually, it mirrors what the Most High warned us about: man's pride, the attempt to open forbidden doors. Around the world, people are saying it feels like time itself is speeding up, and the scriptures confirm it. For the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Because if Yah did not cut the time short, no flesh would survive. So in this video, we're going to look at this from a spiritual perspective, through revelation, through the abyss, through the mystery of Abaddon, and ask the question, are these experiments signs of prophecy unfolding before our eyes? Let's take a look.
Something more supernatural on the drawing board at CERN than what is being admitted. Even Adam Barker of Tech Bubble wrote of CERN a while back that with the LHC, CERN are expecting to find other dimensions and open portals to these dimensions. If you have the image of Stargate in your head right now, you're spot on. That's what he said. One of CERN's goals is to recreate Jacob's Ladder, according to Barker, and to reopen a portal. Now, Sergio Bertolucci, who is the official director for research and scientific computing at CERN, he was asked a while back about this extra-dimensional doorway by The Register, which is a London and New York operated science and technology journal. And he didn't hesitate with an enlightening response. He said, yes, out of this door might come something, or we might send something through it.
They're collecting this antimatter, and they're going to use it in the tribulation, that when a person does not have the light in them, they will use it against you and increase your darkness. Think about what I'm going to tell you. Every dark thought, desire, deed in you will be magnified. Because the scientists have said that when they take this antimatter and they bring it and it gets close to anybody, it begins to bring darkness out of people. People start getting hallucination and death and all kinds of stuff start happening in their mind, and they start seeing spirits and stuff. This is what these people were playing with. And we thought this is science. No, this is the occult. This is spiritual. Can y'all handle what I'm saying?
What do you think? Did science go beyond discovery? Have we stepped into prophecy? The scriptures tell us that in the last days, the bottomless pit will be opened, releasing forces that have been restrained since the beginning. The world calls it research. The Bible calls it revelation. So again, deep beneath the earth, CERN is colliding particles of creation itself, collecting antimatter, the mirror of light. But antimatter doesn't bring illumination, it brings the absence of it. It's darkness in physical form. And what happens when mankind begins to harness darkness? When pride and power combine to open forbidden doors. The statue of Shiva dances before the portal, creation and destruction intertwined. This is more than research, more than technology. This is spiritual. And as darkness grows stronger in those without light, YAH'S chosen will shine even brighter. Let's go deeper, because what's coming next will shake the heavens and the earth.
CERN, they've used their collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings.
Wow.
And one of them are the occupants from YAH'S.
To be clear, CERN already has a room and a technology to open a portal to talk to extraterrestrials.
Yes.
But recently, they also used it to communicate with the beings on YAH'S.
That's correct.
Okay, go on.
Yes. So those beings introduce themselves as such, as that we are the occupants of this object, and they did not show up physically. They show up as holograms. Now, they apparently showed up as holograms. They look tall, and they communicated telepathically with every single scientist in the room.
Wow.
And they all got the same message, which is that they are coming in peace, and they're just trying to come over here to gather all the star seeds of this planet. So,
Yeah, they say that they're reaching out to extraterrestrials, beings from beyond the stars. But those of us who understand scripture, we know the truth. They're not visitors from another planet. They are ancient spiritual forces, the same fallen ones cast before the foundations of the earth. Science calls it communication, but the Bible calls it conjuring. When man builds machines to pierce the unseen, to speak beyond the veil, he's not just listening for voices in space. He's opening doors to realms of deception. The Most High warned us of this. He warned us of beings that would return, disguised as light, bringing knowledge, technology, and false hope to a world already blinded by pride. They're not coming to save humanity. They're here to finish what they started. And as the abyss opens wider, the line between science and sorcery begins to disappear.
CERN is short for the Celtic horn god Cernunnos. And if you understand paganism, all horn gods can be linked to the Greek god Pan, which goes back to Lucifer and the Baphomet. But let's just for now say coincidence, so we don't need to get ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at where they are located. They are in the community of Saint-Genès-Paulais. This is on the border of Geneva, Switzerland, and eastern France. This community took their current name of Saint Genus in the year 1887. Now, in Roman times, this location was called Apolliacum. Just go to Google Maps and type in this word, and it will direct you to CERN. This entire town and temple of Apolliacum during Roman times was dedicated to Apollyon, the destroyer, also known as Shiva, Lord Shiva, Horus, Abaddon, aka Satan or the devil. But leaving out Satan for a second, for those who don't completely understand paganism, just focus on Apollyon. The very city that CERN is sitting on is the ancient temple of the god Apollyon, which today in the Hindu temples is called Shiva, or Lord Shiva, the god of destruction. In the Roman times, a temple existed there in honor of Apollyon, and the people who lived there believed it was a gateway to some kind of underworld. The Hebrew word for Apollyon is Abaddon, and you don't need to go that far to confirm this, because this is literally in the Bible. Revelation chapter 9, verse 11 says, "And they had as a king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon." Yeah, it's right in there. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Hold on. Point we should take here is that we see more evidence of religious influence, which is not what atheists who do not believe in God do.
Is it an alien ship, a comet? Scientists and researchers are left puzzled.
First contact has happened, but it's not what you think. CERN transmitted a signal to an interstellar object, 3I Atlas, and it responded in 9 minutes.
They're collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings. Wow. And one of them are the occupants from 3I Atlas.
That's a round trip faster than light, and it's just the start of the mystery. The return signal wasn't a greeting, it was a complex mathematical proof. A proof for what, you ask? A technology that would make our most advanced physics look like child's play. What many overlooked is that the message didn't just say, "We are here," it told us where they are going next, and it might be closer than you think. Why 9 minutes is a terrifying number. The team settled in for a long, tense wait. Coffee was brewed and the low hum of the machinery filled the control room. Based on the comet's position, over 80 million miles away at that moment, the laws of physics were crystal clear. A round trip for a radio signal traveling at the speed of light should take about 15 minutes each way. 30 minutes total, give or take a few seconds. They expected at best a faint, degraded echo of their own signal half an hour later. Most believed they would get nothing at all, but that's not what happened. Exactly 9 minutes and 22 seconds after their transmission cut off, the receivers lit up with a jolt. It was a clean, powerful, and unbelievably complex signal coming directly from the trajectory of 3E Atlas. The control room was plunged into a stunned silence. A 9-minute reply was impossible. It violated Einstein's theory of relativity, the absolute speed limit of the universe. It was like receiving a letter in the mail from someone on the other side of the planet just 9 minutes after you sent yours. It simply could not happen. The initial shock gave way to frantic energy as alarms blared, not from an error, but from a signal strength so high it was off the charts. Every sensor was checked, every diagnostic was run. There was no error. The signal was real. The source was locked on 3I Atlas. And the message itself? It was pure mathematics, but on a scale that dwarfed their simple prime number sequence. The object hadn't just said hello back. It had replied with a complex data stream that started with a sequence defining the fine structure constant, a fundamental constant of physics, to a degree of precision hundreds of times greater than humanity had ever calculated. It was a display of knowledge so advanced it was like a caveman receiving a schematic for a smartphone. The thing nobody tells you is that this immediate, impossible reply wasn't a greeting. It was a statement of superiority. 3I Atlas, or whatever was controlling it, hadn't just heard the whisper, it had answered with a roar. The return numbers were more than just a physics lesson.
What do you all think about this? Because I'm not going to say that I know exactly what's going on with projects like 3I Atlas or CERN, but I do believe that there's more going on than what we're being told. Scripture tells us that spiritual wickedness operates in high places. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of these so-called communications are really contact with unclean spirits, the same fallen ones who have been deceiving mankind since the beginning. They've been doing this for generations, whispering knowledge, feeding pride, pushing humanity to cross the lines that Yah set. But why? Why does darkness seek to merge with light? Why do they keep trying to reopen the very doors that were sealed? I'll tell you why. Because from the beginning, darkness has never created anything. It can only corrupt what was already pure. The fallen ones seek to rewrite creation itself, to mix truth with lies, flesh with spirit, and light with shadow, until humanity no longer reflects the image of Yahuwah, but their own twisted design. Remember what's written, As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. In Noah's time the fallen mingled with mankind, teaching forbidden knowledge and defiling what was holy. The same spirits are at work now, using technology, science, and deception to prepare the world for their return. This is why they communicate, to influence, to manipulate, to make mankind believe we can become gods without the Most High. But that's the same lie spoken in the Garden of Eden. When Apollyon rises, he doesn't come alone. The abyss opens up with him. The book of Revelation describes a pit so deep that smoke pours out like a furnace, darkening the sky. And prophecy says that this is going to happen again. Doors are being prepared to open again, not through just sorcery, but what they call science. CERN calls them experiments. We call them portals. The Large Hadron Collider is built beneath the Earth, spinning particles at near the speed of light, creating miniature black holes and collisions that reach into unseen dimensions. They say they're searching for truth, but spiritually, it looks like they're unlocking something that was sealed for a reason. So while man reaches deeper into the unknown, Yahuwah allows it for this season, until every prophecy is fulfilled.
The interesting thing to note is the connection between this idea of Apollo being associated with horses in France, where part of the LHC and CERN resides, and what the book of Revelation states about Abaddon, where it says, "And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." End quote. I also note that Revelation chapter 9, after describing how these devil worshippers will be judged during the Great Tribulation period, it ends in verse 21 saying, "Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries," which is the Greek pharmakia. It's infernal master of ceremonies, a goat man, portrayed by a young and energetic dancing male. This creature is shown with a Baphomet headdress, a goat demon's head, if you will, and a goat body costume with a hairy pelt. And then it had a formal tuxedo over the top. The imagery was heavily evocative of the German and Bavarian Christmas demon known as Krampus. Now, according to tradition, Krampus accompanies St. Nicholas on his midwinter rounds with the intent to steal boys and girls, putting them into a basket carried on his back, or he may decide to beat them with branches for being naughty. Maurice Bruce published a book on pre-Christian Alpine traditions in 1958, and he had this to say about the half-goat, half-demon. And Jacob wakes up from his sleep and he says, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." And he was afraid. And he says, "How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven," Genesis 28. Now this ladder, described in the first book of the Bible, describes something like a portal from heaven to earth through which God's angels, interdimensional and spiritual beings from another reality, were traveling. When Jacob wakes up, he refers to the location as a gate, much like today's trendy terms gateway or stargate. One of CERN's goals is to recreate Jacob's ladder, according to Barker, and to reopen a portal. Now, Sergio Bertolucci, who is the official director for research and scientific computing at
Tell us about CERN.
So the Large Hadron Particle Collider in Switzerland is this large circle where they're basically trying to create antimatter. They're trying to harness the God particle. There's a huge statue of Shiva the Destroyer outside of the center, and there have been some incredibly dark things witnessed at this space. There have been some people that have caught footage of them doing something that at a minimum looks like a reenactment of a human sacrifice. I don't know why you would do such a thing. Like, this all took place right in front of the Shiva the Destroyer statue. There have been many people that have come forward that basically said when this particle collider is turned on, it actually tears the fibers of our space-time, and it's created kind of these parallel fractures in our timeline. There are also people that really believe that what they're trying to do is create a portal to unleash the demons, the spirits of the Nephilim, to basically let them come out of the gates of hell. They're using technology, something that we would perceive physically, to actually allow a portal for something multidimensional. That's all on the road to something that we won't be able to come back from if we're not careful.
Everything we're seeing, the confusion, the deception, and the rise of darkness, is all written. Revelation wasn't given to us to scare us. It was given to prepare us. Every prophecy spoken by Yahuwah will come to pass exactly as he said it would. The seals will open, the trumpets will sound, and the kingdoms of the world will become the kingdom of our Elohim. So while the world chases knowledge and open doors it can't control, we hold fast to the one who controls all. These times are revealing who truly belongs to Yahuwah. The shaking is meant to awaken. The darkness is meant to make the light shine brighter. For prophecy will not fail, and the word of Yahuwah cannot return void. Stay watchful, family. Stay in prayer and stay holy. And remember Matthew 24:13. He that endures until the end shall be saved. And until my next video, shalom.
We are not the same. You love them holidays. No, we are not the same. Y'all not in your life. We are not the same. What a shame. I pray you switch your ways. Praise Yah, we going up. Days in the tabernacle, holy days, feast days are marked on the calendar. Can't believe or imagine anyone would shy away. Once you know the truth, you in, and now you see the light of day. The Bible is about the house of Israel. Ain't too many churches out there that'll mention it. We live in it. Used to be there, but we pivoted. Like 10 years ago, the family left with the Christmases. Got me praying for them better days. Y'all give me strength, you know I'll never ever turn away. 10 years enlightened by the truth, and now we here to stay. Built a little community, I love we on the same page. Yeah, more blessings, you deserve it. I know they hating cause we see below the surface. Cause everything that they promoting isn't worth it. All praises to Yahuwah, not